Peace, peace. So yeah, Spin City. That was quite a spin job on the flood of comments raging against part 1 of your video. But let's let the truth be known. The larger issue that people were commenting on was the sexism and the xenophobia expressed in your video. You claim in this latest video that you didn't say all black women, but that 99.9% of them defend white folk. What you said on the video was that it's always the black woman. That's what you said. Always. That's 100% of the time. And that's a categorically false statement, whether you want to admit it or not. Black males do the same thing often as well. Furthermore, you're acting. You're acting as if you don't know what you really did. You had no business highlighting gender on the issue of mental slavery or house niggerism. That's divisive. You're supposed to highlight the psychology and the behavior. That would have not only sufficed, it's actually the root of the issue. You attempted to take it further by asking her where she was from because you heard her accent. Later in the video, when you have another person, a black man from the Caribbean, displaying the same psychology and behavior, you begin calling him a banana boat ass nigga and a bootleg African. Didn't bother to highlight his gender because that would be indicting yourself. You picked two people, and instead of focusing on the psychology and behavior in question, you focus on their gender and where they're from. In other words, sexism and xenophobia, which reeks of the ultimate irony. And why do I say this? Well, we already know from numerous black scholars such as Baba Jetty or Nana Jacob Carruthers that sexism is the core of racism. So you're showing us that not unlike a lot of us on this journey, you still have some white folks running around in your head that you have yet to rid yourself of in this ongoing, as Kamal Kambon would put it, de-whitenization process. It's a package deal. Throw it all out. The readily identifiable peripheral products and byproducts of racism, as well as the not so easily identifiable root causes and afflictions. Also, another banana boat ass nigga, the one you all say that you all are taking care of right now, Nana Joseph Ben Yakanan, who came to America from the Caribbean. If you can remember, whenever he has spoken about how we were with each other in Africa, he spoke about how we had no official boundaries to our countries like white people do. That the boundaries we have today were all drawn up by white people. He spoke about how the different people from different countries shared the land and the resources in Africa, as opposed to cutting each other off and acting with prejudices against each other over imaginary lines. Not to mention that if you don't get the basic point of how we borrow from one another back and forth across countries all the time, learning from each other and growing, if you can have a man within your midst such as Dr. Ben, and you can act like this in the face of this reality, then it would appear that something is seriously amiss here. I'm sure as time goes on we'll be able to see. I don't expect you all to acknowledge any of this because your second response already shows that this is about ego for you. Not only because you failed to address the fullness of the merit of the people's responses to your initial video, but also, as I finally addressed the most insignificant portion of your video, the whole thing about making white folks bow down. Y'all can have as many white folks bow down to you as you want. I really don't care one way or the other. I never spoke on it in my reply simply because I thought it was just not worthy of any reply, as it was just so meaningless. The explanation that they must bow down to you in order to get forgiveness from our ancestors and ancestresses is nothing but your justification for engaging in a brand of behavior that only serves your ego. Our ancestors and ancestresses know that there's no forgiving for what was done and what continues to be done. Our ancestors and ancestresses spit at the concept of forgiveness because they realize that definitively forgiveness is the opposite of justice. The former defines fundamentally as absolving one of responsibility for their behavior, while the latter defines as holding one accountable for their behavior. Justice and forgiveness cannot exist at the same time. But I suppose that forgiveness as an argument to justify, quote unquote justify, having white folk bowing down to you actually reveals the extent of your personal movement or your goals. They bow down on a purely symbolic level. Nothing measurably meaningful or substantive actually comes of it. You forgive them, they live, they continue to do what they do. The difference between y'all and the rest of us is that there's only one kind of concession we're interested in from white folk, and they can only give it once. Blood debts can only be repaid in blood. And since thus far, history has proven that it is but one of the many meaningful concessions that they have absolutely no interest in giving. Why y'all work to get white folks, who probably can't even speak English and don't know what the hell they doing, to bow down and make you feel pleasure? The rest of us will continue on working on the mission of getting ourselves in the position necessary to rule every aspect of our lives and all 9 areas of people interactivity, our destinies, as well as getting ourselves in the position to exact the justice that our ancestors and ancestresses will truly look upon with favor. And that's coming from a bootleg African banana boat ass nigga. Hit tap.